In 2024, everyone is suddenly talking about AI. Many of us will have seen and used ChatGPT and similar chatbots, as well as image generation tools. It's exciting to have such power at our fingertips, but at the same time, doesn't this make us all a bit nervous? Hi, I'm Dr. Huw Jones and I work for CNBC. I have a PhD in computer science where I study the development and theory of machine learning models, otherwise known as AI. I now work in the field and have published original research. I am today on a mission to spread my knowledge and expertise to as many people as possible. I'm in my late 30s and many of the movies and TV shows I grew up with had the dangers of artificial intelligence or robots as a common theme. The dangers of AI and them becoming too powerful or beyond our control is one of the deepest tropes in popular culture. For many people these days, the rise of AI and depictions of the apocalypse are almost synonymous. So with the seeming rapid growth in AI today, many people are a bit nervous that things are going to turn out like The Terminator, The Matrix, or 2001: A Space Odyssey. The other big fear is that AI tools will be able to do the jobs of millions of workers, leading to mass layoffs. If the machines can do the work of ordinary workers, why would companies bother paying for humans? After all, there's a strong history of workers being replaced by machines. Just look at the Luddites of the 19th century who were displaced by automated textile machines. Even the post-industrialization of the 1980s and 1990s in the developed world, which saw a massive decline in heavy manual work, was at least partly down to increased automation in these sectors. So as someone who's studied and worked in the field of machine learning, do I think there's any danger from the rapid growth in AI? In a word, yes. So this is the first in a new series of videos on the CNBC channel, where we discuss and explore a particular issue. We hope you find it both interesting and entertaining. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and we don't want you to miss anything we've got coming up. So how is AI dangerous? Do I believe that AI will become sentient and want to enslave or destroy humanity? Well, no. This belief is caused by a misunderstanding and a conflation between the web-based tools we now call artificial intelligence and the superhuman intelligence depicted in the movies of the last half-century. Personally, I strongly dislike calling these tools artificial intelligence at all. They are certainly artificial, but what they do is certainly not intelligence. And therein lies the problem. When talking about AI and hearing reports in the media, you're likely to hear many terms like neural networks, machine learning, big data, and so on. We'll explore in depth what these terms mean in future videos, as well as how you can use them to make your own AI tools. In general, most AI tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney are a glorified mathematical equation. You can think of this equation like a black box. Numbers go into this box on one side, it does some fancy calculation inside and then spits out numbers on the other side. If it's a text-based tool like ChatGPT, the words will be translated into numbers, or vice versa. And that's it. There's no super intelligence, it's not some superior mind, it's just an equation with inputs and outputs. How it is designed and built, on the other hand, is far more involved, and we shall discuss the process in later videos. So if it's this simple and unimposing, what's the danger? Well, it all comes down to the way it's being used and what it's being used for. The danger with the growth and use of AI is not that they'll become evil megalomaniacs or try to eradicate humanity. It's that humans will use the outputs of these models to build things they no longer understand. Let's take software development for an example. Up until recently, if If someone who's a non-programmer wanted to write some code, they'd have to take a tutorial, consult some documentation, or at least Google the specific thing they needed the program to do. You might gain some deeper understanding of the subject matter and some new knowledge, even if just copying and pasting some code from a website such as Stack Overflow. You'd at least have some context to fall back on, and quite possibly a deeper understanding. Fast forward to today, where a person wanting to write an application or code script can just write a prompt into ChatGPT and it'll dump out some code that can be mindlessly plugged in. Yes, sure, ChatGPT happily answers any questions about what it's given you in as much detail as you want. It can really help you learn, if you ask it to. But let's be honest, who does? If you can't or won't write code from scratch, you're probably not in the mood to learn anything in detail. Now, I'm not suggesting this is a brand new phenomenon. Lazy copy and paste software development has been a growing problem for years. Nor am I judging or criticizing anyone for using it. There's been many a day when I just can't be bothered to hunt through explainers and documentation and just want something that works. Whilst coding, I often have tabs on my browser open with both Google and ChatGPT. If I forget how to do something or get stuck, I am finding the latter increasingly convenient. But as an experienced programmer, there's something I have noticed. When prompted with a programming query, ChatGPT chucks out a perfect solution, about 95% of the time. That doesn't seem so bad, right? We'll just need to fix that 1 in 20 that isn't right? Well, there's a problem. To a novice simply copying and pasting, the erroneous code often fails silently. What I mean is, once you've copied it into your software, it might look like it's serving its purpose. It might look like it's giving you the result you wanted, but it's actually not. You might not realize the error for days, weeks, or even years, during which the time the software might have been providing false information, logging the wrong data, or sending web traffic to the wrong location. So this doesn't sound like such a big deal, right? After all, it's just software. What's the real danger if a few apps or websites stop working eventually? Well, let's consider two things. Number one, our lives are considerably dependent on software and technology today. Number two, what at first seems like luxuries and frivolities quickly become necessities. Those of us who are old enough to remember the 90s know a time when no one used the internet. No one spent a sizable part of their day scrolling on their phone. You only got news from TV or newspapers, and the only way to find your way around was to use a paper map or ask for directions. Today, I don't think most people would see the loss of high-speed internet, smartphones, GPS navigation, 24-hour access to instant communication and news to be anything other than completely unacceptable. In the last couple of years, I have noticed how entire companies have become dependent on software like Microsoft Teams for their entire internal and external communication systems. Entire supply chains rely on a few vital software packages. It's only a matter of time until someone, perhaps a large corporation or government division, will build something big and complicated almost entirely using outputs from ChatGPT or the like. A social media platform, a mass communications network, maybe even an entire operating system. Perhaps it'll work for a while, perhaps very well, and it'll become incredibly popular, garnering hundreds of millions of daily users. Perhaps those users will become dependent on it for daily tasks, their well-being or their livelihood. Then one day, it stops working. No one knows why it doesn't work, certainly not the people who stuck it together from AI chatbot outputs. And if you think a government or corporation wouldn't be so stupid to do something like this, Oh, you sweet summer child. Organisations in the private and public sector are made up of entirely fallible individuals who are constantly under pressure to cut costs, maximise outputs, beat the competition, and come out with the latest thing. The tech world is packed with bandwagonry, hype, and folly. Often their enterprises grow to involve thousands of people, billions of dollars, and sometimes harmful or even fatal results. Most software that we use on a daily basis is reliant on a complex stack of other software packages. It's a delicate tower, with a failure at any point threatening to topple all the software that relies on it above. Building any software package today relies on a mountain of prior development. Little is built entirely from scratch. If any piece of this Jenga tower fails, then the whole thing comes crashing down. It's not a stretch to say that in the era of AI, our reliance on technology and the growth of software is only going to accelerate, and the stack will only grow higher. With instant ability to use ChatGPT and the like to pump out code, the ability to chuck together an app has a much lower barrier to entry than it did before. Before long, we will likely see all kinds of software pumped out by all kinds of people and organisations. Software will make its way into all avenues of life, from health, entertainment, food and drink, transportation, the military, and everything else. I really fear we are heading into a world of rapidly growing complexity and rapidly decreasing knowledge and understanding. There's a potential feedback mechanism here that may accelerate the problem. I don't want to go too deep into how AI models work in this video, but I'm sure many of you will know they require copious amounts of data to build and optimize in a process known as training. In terms of building things like software, the models are trained on code written by software developers. Advancing these models and keeping them up to date requires more data, i.e. more code written by developers. If you consider that developers may be replaced by AI models, you might start to realize that there could be a vicious cycle developing here. This prospect reminds me of a terrible episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. An alien society lives in a state of utopia, with the drudgery of life automated by machines. There's only one problem. No one can have any children and everyone is infertile. Okay, spoiler alert for the end of the episode, but it turns out the automated machinery is what's making everybody infertile. It's been malfunctioning for years, but everyone has forgotten how any of it works because they've all been living lives of leisure for generations. Okay, I'm not saying we're going to end up like that anytime soon, but I think it's an interesting analogy for the sort of situation we're heading for. The other danger I see with the growing influence of machine learning and AI is what we might call the slop factor. I can see companies and other big organisations replacing human output in their products with the absolute drivel pumped out by some of these models. I think we're already seeing the start of this with ChatGPT powered chatbots being added to apps and websites. That's bad, of course, for the workers being replaced, but imagine the absolute hellscape that the internet and most other places will become if a large proportion of content writers, graphic designers, and other creative types were replaced with this slop. Before we know it, everything will look and feel bland. I think there's a real danger of a wave of redundancy and de-skilling in the wake of AI. In many ways, this will only accelerate the problems outlined in the previous chapter. As the production of technology becomes more and more automated, and the wave of cutbacks on workers accelerates, the gap between our reliance on technology grows whilst our collective ability to understand and maintain it falls. The issues raised in previous chapters may accelerate another problematic phenomenon in our society that has been growing for decades: anti-intellectualism. Our society is becoming increasingly complex. The technology we rely on for modern life is getting ever more complicated, and the ability of any one individual to understand it is falling. This has led to a widespread feeling of hopelessness by a mass of people in our society. This has only been exacerbated by the unemployment and disenfranchisement of the post-industrial era, as well as the wake of the financial crisis of 2008. The wake of this disenfranchisement has at least partially been the driving force behind many of the conspiracy theories of recent decades and some political movement.
I think the people in this country have had enough of experts with organisations from acronyms.
The people of this country have had enough of experts.
From organisations with acronyms saying that they know what is best and getting it consistently wrong.
Could the rise of AI and the societal changes that come with it lead to further problems of anti-intellectualism? No, I'm not saying that all AI is bad. I mean, I work and study it. My livelihood at least depends partly on it. I use machine learning on a daily basis, both AI tools online and building my own machine learning models. Not only this, I am going to teach you in future videos how you can learn a range of computer science skills, including machine learning and AI. So what can we do to prevent the dystopian vision I outlined earlier? I believe there are a few things. The first thing you can do is become an intelligent customer of these products. Educate yourself on how your code works, rather than just blindly copying and pasting the outputs of ChatGPT. This is not only a good thing to do to avoid all the problems I've suggested, it'll also make you a better programmer and a better candidate for any machine learning, software engineering job you might be applying to. As we've discussed, ChatGPT will happily explain to you any code that is generated. You can expand your knowledge of coding and software engineering principles. We're happy to help here at CheisTech. Now might be a good time to mention we have more tutorials coming up, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. The second thing you can do is understand the limitations of AI. As stated previously, these tools are not super intelligent. They're not even really an intelligence, they're an equation. Educate yourself on how machine learning models work and the limitations of what they are and are not capable of. Be skeptical. Similar to the last point, don't believe everything you hear about what's happening with developments in AI. Don't buy into the hype and certainly don't spread it. Support open source development of software. If you're unfamiliar with the principle of free and open source software, find out what it is. We will be running videos in the future on what open source is and why it is important. Not just because it guards against the dangers highlighted in this video, but it's a really great philosophy of producing software. So you've learned that the fears surrounding the rise of AI might actually be well founded, but probably not for the reasons you previously thought. I doubt AI will reach the level of superintelligence anytime soon or decide to take us over or eradicate us like the Terminator. The danger is far more insidious. The real danger is how we'll use it, how we may become dependent on it as individuals, and how that may affect us as a society. I hope I've given you something to think about in this video. I'm very interested to see how you feel about this issue. Do you think I am underestimating the problem? Perhaps you feel that this is all overblown and AI is just a fad that will fizzle out in time. Be sure to use the comment section to let us know. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it enjoyable or you found it informative, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. All the best from us here at CheisTech.